Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Masliansky, and today we're going to be talking to Ellen Blum Barish, who is a writer, also an editor of a couple journals, and she's an award winner with Skokie. So it's a very interesting conversation. Looking forward to having you hear it and learning more about her. But I also just want to remind everybody that, part of the reason why I have this podcast is to show everyone how great this neighborhood is, Skokie, Evanston, the whole area, and why you want to be here. So if you are listening to this and you want to make a move and buy a home here, or if you're looking to sell and move somewhere else, I am a real estate agent with Dreamtown Realty in Evanston, so I can certainly help you. Feel free to go to my website at aaronmasliansky.com. You could see how to spell my name in the show notes. And you could also email me at aaron, AARON, @skevinson.com, and I'd be happy to help you. And, please also subscribe to this podcast. You could listen to it on any app, so, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, anywhere where you desire. And also want to let everyone know that if you're listening on Sunday, March 31st, I will be having an open house at a beautiful home at 9220 Costner in Skokie. It's a 4-bedroom split level that's been updated, pretty close to Devonshire Park and a lot of different places in the area. So from 2 to 3:30, come see me, and let's start the show. Welcome to Inside the Skev, and I'm your host, Aaron Masliansky. Today we're sitting down with Ellen Blum Barish, who is a writer, Skokie native, and an award winner from Skokie. And we're going to talk with her about what she does, why she does it, and really get to know her. So, Ellen, thanks so much for coming on.
An absolute pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. So, Ellen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've kind of got multi-titles, but it all falls into the realm of the word. So it falls into the category of publishing. I'm a writer, I'm an editor, and a coach of writing and teacher of writing. So all these things are about my love of the word. And I write personal essays. I've just finished a memoir that I am now hoping to sell. Mm-hmm. And I do have a book of essays that came out about 10 years ago. And I facilitate other people in that process to get essays and memoir out in both workshops and working privately with them as well. The other hat I wear is editor of a literary publication that is celebrating 5 years this spring. And we're going to have a big old celebration about that in a few weeks.
Where's that going to be?
That's in my hometown of Skokie. Happy to give the love back to a village that really recognizes artists, which I was really delighted to discover. I don't think I fully understood that, and I've been in the area close to 30 years now and was delighted and surprised to be told that I had earned this amazing award of the Individual Artistic Award of 2018.
Wow.
And it recognizes individual artists in the village as well as group artists. So on the day that I was handed this incredible, it wasn't just a certificate, it was an actual trophy with my name in there. And it was also, I believe that the group award was given to the Skokie Symphony Orchestra that day as well. So it was wonderful to be in the company of that orchestra and to have the mayor and the Arts Commission bestow that upon me. I was just really blown away. It was really wonderful. So around that time, I knew that the 5th anniversary of my publication was coming, and I was searching for a space to have a big hoo-ha. Mm-hmm. I wanted to celebrate, and I just thought that the Skokie Theater would be the ultimate beautiful place to host it, and so I was able to grab a good night, and I've rented the place and have invited 9 Chicago area storytellers who are really, really wonderful performers and writers and storytellers to help me celebrate. So that evening will be filled with personal stories of a variety from covering all kinds of topics.
What types of topics?
We have everything from a couple of immigrant stories and different perspectives on what it feels like to have arrived in the U.S., both as a child and also as an adult, and stories about raucous teenage years and then raising one's own teenager. And
sing it from the other side.
Exactly, both sides. Good to know, to have those perspectives. Stories about writing process and the sort of the love and the ache of the artistic process. I'm scanning my memory here of what we have. All kinds of stories from.
All different types of things.
Yes.
Yeah. So it sounds, and that's going to be on May 2nd at 7:30.
Yes, 7:30 to about 9:30 or 10, and there'll be a couple of special guests there as well. Among them are a group of women who, I would say, planted the seed for Thread, which is the name of the publication, about 10 years ago. And I have to tell the story because it's so delightful.
Please.
So in about 2010 or so, I was teaching writing. I had a writing workshop at the New Trier Extension in Winnetka.
Right by the Forest Preserve over there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there was a group of women in particular who kept coming on a regular basis, and their writing just got better and better, and they were bonding as a group, and they became friends outside of the actual workshop. And when I stopped teaching there, because I took a full-time job for a while outside and wasn't able to make that particular workshop go for a while, they met on their own every week. And they called themselves the Grant Street Writers, and they just published a book called Wednesdays with Winston that is a result of years of literally meeting every single week and workshopping each other's personal essays to get them better and better and better. And they just sent me a copy a couple weeks ago, and I was just over the moon. So I just had to include them in this because it was during our time together that I said to them one day, these essays are so good, they're publishable. They're absolutely publishable. And I remember one of the students in the class said, well, we should have our own publication. And I remember just thinking, So I parked that idea, and it was about a year later that Thread was born, having been seeded by that one particular comment.
It must make you feel so good to see other, that inspiration turn into something where other people can appreciate it too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that they fell in love with the essay as I have, and then they were able to do the work themselves and continue to go back into their own stories and make them better and better. And the collection is just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just, it's awesome. So I'm delighted for them. So I'm asking them to be special guests because they're where the idea was really germinated. And I will say this, I'll add one other piece to the story, and that is at the end of one of our workshops, we had been doing we had a sort of a storytelling evening where we had everybody read their pieces in progress at Kurt's Cafe in Evanston on Central Street. And we sort of rented out the place and invited friends and family. And that night, you know how cameras sort of take their own pictures sometimes, the camera phones?
Yes.
They click, they have a mind of their own. I don't know why. But at the end of that night, lots of pictures were taken. One of the pictures that had been accidentally taken was of a braided rug that was on the floor of the cafe, a beautiful multicolored braided rug. And as I was going through the pictures, I thought to myself, it ended up being not a bad picture.
Yeah.
And it ended up sparking the idea for the title, because I was thinking, gosh, that's sort of what the evening felt like, these multicolored, different stories, different aged people from different backgrounds and cultures. And so I was thinking yarn, and then I was thinking braid, and then it became thread. So that they really, in every way, helped to make thread blossom into what it is now.
That's so beautiful.
It's very cool. I'm very excited about it.
How did you get into writing in the first place?
So I'm a lifelong journaler. I started as a kid, like a lot of kids do, writing in a diary and in a journal since 10, 12, maybe somewhere in that area. And loved English and writing in school. And I was a little bit late to discovering journalism, but it was after I graduated from college that I realized that I wanted to write feature articles for magazines, and that a journalism degree would probably be a good idea in order for me to do that.
Help.
It would help a little, and it certainly did. I ended up going to the Medill School of Journalism. A couple years out of school, I had been in publishing, fell in love with publishing, but I wanted to do feature writing, and so I did get the MSJ at Medill, and did a lot of freelance articles about human interest stories for the Chicago Tribune, and a couple of things for Newsweek and Self magazine, and then it just kind of kept on from there. And it was a great way, after I got married and had kids, to have a career that was very flexible and family friendly. And I was able to sort of make mostly a career out of freelance writing as a result of having that degree and that training. And it was a couple of decades into that I discovered the personal essay. It was somewhere in the 90s. I was reading, I think the first time I ever heard an essay was probably on the radio essays.
Where they were reading it on there?
Mm-hmm. I think it was NPR was doing personal essays, and I discovered essay collections that were being published by women around my age, so that reflected on things that I was thinking about: family life, working, being a woman, the issues that just come up for you. And I just fell in love with the form, and it was while working as an editor of a parenting publication based in Toledo, Ohio. I was doing a very remote editorial. I had a remote editorial position there as editor, that the publishers asked me to do a monthly column. And the monthly column was called Just Women, and it was about being a mom, raising girls, women's health, women's issues, and it became quite personal over time. And that, more and more, it seemed to be what people actually wanted. I was getting mail back in the days when there was mail.
What's that?
What's mail? An envelope with a stamp on it. And it was really fun, and it was really resonating, and it was, I ended up doing a monthly column for about 12 years, which 60 of those columns we decided there was enough interest to turn it into a book, and that's what my first book is pulled from, are re-edited versions of those columns that had more of an evergreen life to them, that felt like they could be forever. And so I spent a lot of time really working those, revising those, and then we put them together into a collection called Views from the Home Office Window on, oh goodness, what's the subtitle? I have a copy of the book with me here. It's in my bag, but
that's okay. And you could get that
you can get Amazon. It on Amazon, Views from the Home Office Window. Yeah, Ellen Blum Barish, obviously.
What's the new book?
It's a book about a childhood experience I had, and that was rather traumatic. It was a car crash I was in as a young girl, and just sort of the impact that that kind of experience can have over the course of a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I've picked about a 20-year period where I explore the reverberations of that experience.
Do you still have, reverberations from that?
Oh, yeah, in so many ways. Yeah. Well, a lot of the book is about being silenced, and so much of what matters to me, and I think this is why I became a writer, is about not being silenced and having the chance to express what it is that you feel and encouraging that in others. And so I certainly felt that way when I was raising my daughters, that it was really important to express yourself and then later in life I became more fascinated with how you can make that into art. There's expression for healing and for communication, but there's also the kind of expression that I actually think can make for beautiful art. Even chaos, things that are chaotic can be turned into art. And
just by how it's expressed, the words?
I think just by the process of, this is how I see it, by just the putting it, by the concentration and the diving back into memory and the putting it onto the page and exploring it, and then even the going back in and revising, and in the workshopping, when you hear what other people have to say about the work under construction, it's very interesting to get other heads on the subject, other lenses, and it does sort of make you rethink. And there's craft involved for sure. Yeah. There's definitely things that I always talk about in my workshops that lend writing, that elevate the writing to make it more beautiful and more sensorial and more passionate, more like I can connect you to it. There's certainly craft ways to do that, but ultimately I really believe in the power of that also for personal discovery and healing as well.
How many people typically work on a piece of writing that you're working on?
Oh, you mean on one piece?
Yeah, like if you're writing a book, I mean, do you have people that you call on to get opinions to help craft it?
I am a writing coach, but I hired a writing coach for myself because I so believe in that one-to-one experience of working very deeply with someone else. There was really no way around it. I needed the support of the coach whom I hired, and she was really she was honest with her feedback, and she was a whole other head. We get so into our own memory, and we get tangled up sometimes. Yeah. It was great to have her perspective, and she is very, very. Obviously, she taught me so much more about craft, and now I use so much of what she taught me with my students as well. So, but people do work on pieces of their own in a workshop environment with, 5 to 10 other people. Some people find that very useful, and sometimes people form their own writing groups, as the Grant Street Writers did. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to do it. So it's more about honoring what's the process that works best for you.
So, your thought would be better to collaborate with people than to go off into the woods for a while and come out with a masterpiece. Doesn't really happen.
That woods is very valuable for absolutely. I highly recommend woods, especially if there's a cabin there and there's a bathroom. That helps quite a lot.
That helps.
So there's no downside to getting away to get especially initial thoughts down, or then to go back and revise. You got to pull away for sure. So I guess what we're talking about really is a balance of both of those things. It's a very solitary kind of work. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You can't do it, and people can do it in a cafe when there's a lot going on. That's for sure. But it's all really about what's being downloaded. I always talk about. These memories and these thoughts come from our head, through our heart, through our arms, and through our hands, into our fingers. It's a very intimate kind of experience to get from what's going on in our head and our heart onto the screen or page. Mm-hmm. And so you have to concentrate to do that. And then it's just about going back and sort of tweaking and revisiting, and there are ways to just make it more clear or more poetic or more true.
Mm-hmm. What's been the best way for you to get that inspiration, and where do you go to write?
Well, for a long time, I was in my basement because when my children were young, we didn't have the space. Actually, when I had just one child, I was in the corner of a dining room, and then I graduated to a whole basement, and I had that to myself with a teeny tiny little window. And then when the girls got older and then ultimately moved out of the house, I had a whole bedroom office to myself. And so I've now made it mine. The room really feels like it's got everything in there that I need to support and encourage me. But I will, from time to time, go to a cafe and get some things down. And I do try to get out of town at least once a year. I'm planning to go out. Actually, this week I'm going to Portland for a writing conference. And I like a good hotel room for writing, too.
Right.
So I've done that as well. I've tried to go to little cabins in the woods as well as writing retreats. I had the opportunity in 2012 to be invited to Ragdale as a resident there for 2 weeks, and that was just delicious. It was great.
Where is Ragdale?
Ragdale is in Lake Forest,
okay.
And it's an artist community. It's established to support a small number of artists of all different kinds, such that they have a place to stay and they have a yummy, delicious dinner at night, and they can gather with the other artists, and then you're kind of on your own for breakfast and lunch. And it was really the first time I felt like I really, really was a writer, because you're doing it every day for 2 to 3 weeks, and I didn't get bored for a second, and I was in it and loving every minute of it, and that's sort of when I realized, wow, I could really do this forever, all day, every day.
I mean, it's truly an art. I mean, I've been up to like Taliesin, where Frank Lloyd Wright's studio was, and you can get that same sense for architecture and art there as what you're talking about here for writing, because it's just another. To have that kind of feeling with other people who are all doing the same thing, it can inspire you as well.
Oh yes, any kind of beauty can. Yeah.
Music.
Beauty and quiet, right? Yeah. I mean, everybody. That's sort of the interesting thing. People are stimulated by different things.
Right.
So and there really is no one right way. I like to say in my workshops that I like to overstimulate everybody so that they literally leave shaking. And so it's interesting to see all the different things that can work, and conversationally, and also what foods are around, and the temperature in the room, and what the room looks like when we're actually talking about a piece of work. All those things enter in.
Do you have to take breaks to kind of rest from writing so you can kind of get re-inspired, I guess, later on?
Absolutely. And in fact, it's kind of funny. 3 years ago, now we're in 2019. In 2016, I took what is known to by many folks as an inhale year. We talk about exhale years and inhale years. And this was a year that I decided not to write. I decided I would do business writing, writing that had to do with professional things, but I would take a year off because I was sort of thinking I needed a break.
Yeah.
Interestingly, that was the year that the book came together in my mind. It's as though I relaxed all of my writing muscles, and then this pure topic that I clearly felt compelled to write about just wouldn't be buried any longer and just came bubbling up to the top and really wanted out. And so that, ironically, I got about 9 months into that inhale year, maybe even a little less, maybe more like 7 months, and then the book wanted to be born.
That's kind of the reason for a sabbatical year for professors.
Yes.
Same thing.
Exactly.
I think everybody needs that.
Yes, I think so too. Every profession.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get burnt out.
Exactly.
Do you find being a coach and writer is more interesting to you than being an editor?
that's interesting. I love them both so very much. They're really different skill sets. There's nothing like seeing a person have an insight in the writing or as a result of a comment on their work. There's just nothing better than that. On the other hand, it's also really wonderful to work with a writer strictly on the page. So when I'm working with writers for Thread and Stitch, which is the other publication that's a part of Thread too, which is shorter pieces, there's a back and forth, editorial back and forth via email, sometimes by telephone, and when it's a really good exchange, it's so productive, and it's really gratifying to know for both the writer and the editor to feel like the work got better.
Right.
So there's that piece too, but in a different kind of a way. So both really are about, I think, about excellence of craft and making the work sing.
Yeah.
And really just making it, the best it can be. And so to me, that's all. I'm on for that. I'm in 100%.
You're all, yeah. And is the writing all pretty serious? Do you ever work on comedy or mystery or different other what types of genres?
Oh my gosh! Well, in Thread, my goal is to publish emerging and established writers, as well as a diversity of topics and age and gender and every kind of storyline from life. So, oh my gosh, with 12 issues out now, we've kind of covered everything from memories of childhood to little tiny moments. To me, the essay does the best job of capturing something very small and blowing it up big.
Yeah.
And especially in Stitch, which is the publication that has 100-word essays, I'm really fascinated by how much can be said with so few words. So it's really just about capturing something really sometimes very small but very universal, of very, watching somebody cross the street or trying to think of the variations of topics we've kind of covered. A small exchange between strangers, something seen in the distance that had some sort of metaphor or meaning for somebody. That seemed very random, but really wasn't. Or there's all kinds of these tiny moments that are, when put together in a crafted way, can just really be beautiful and also stick with a reader.
Right.
So that's what we go for usually.
Well, that's great. I mean, I think it's great that people can read this and get that feeling. And I mean, do you have besides the event for the Thread Anniversary, do you have public workshops that people can come to? Or?
Absolutely. So I do every. At least twice a year, I've been actually doing some workshops at the Ice House Gallery in Evanston, which is a wonderful space that I highly recommend you go to for art of all kinds. It's a beautiful gallery, and it has workshop space on the second floor for where studio art is being taught, as well as writing. And so, in fact, I have a workshop coming up starting next Monday, April 1st, Monday nights from 6:15 to 8:45. That is what I kind of think of as my sort of beginning intermediate class, which is writing for personal discovery, making art from life. And so I've done that workshop before, and this is my second go-around there. I also teach at StoryStudio Chicago, which is in the city, all kinds of topics. I just finished teaching a class about how essay is like song and how song can be like essay, and so what the essay writers can learn from the songwriters was that
makes
topic.
A lot of sense.
That was a fun class, and I think it was a one-night class, and I'm hoping to expand it for fall. And then prior to that, I taught a class at StoryStudio called Writing Wrongs. And it was really all about looking at short personal narratives that were about asking for forgiveness or saying I'm sorry, or it fell into that category in a myriad of ways. And we used essay as well as some video as well, some cartoons as well. And so that I've done at StoryStudio, and I also did it at the Young Center, also in Evanston, last fall. So I'm always thinking of kind of interesting new ways into the topic of essay, because I want to turn everybody on to personal essay. I think it's such a gorgeous form that I'm always looking for new inspiration to help other people get inspired. And then I also do private workshops in my home in Skokie as well, and that's just sort of periodic. And then, of course, I work with people privately, too, on all kinds of things, memoir, personal essay, but also other things as well for professional purposes, too.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I think it would be great if Skokie had a place like some of the places you described here in Evanston and Chicago. Do you know if there's been any discussion about anything opening up like that? Or
I know there's a regular meeting of writers at the Skokie Public Library. Mm-hmm. I think they mostly discuss books, but I also think that they are a gathering of writers. There are a lot of really great things going on at the Skokie Public Library around publishing, writing, books. So that's one place. And I've actually done some workshops there as well. I'm trying to think what else. From the storytelling point of view, I think there could be much more. That's a whole other sort of offshoot. For many years since Thread started in 2014, 2015, one of the ways I wanted to be more of a literary citizen is to produce events that were storytelling events from highlighting people who were writers who contributed to Thread. And though Thread is a national and international publication, I would try to pull the local writers in and then ask other storytellers to come. And so we bopped around from location to location. So I did a few in Evanston and a few in Skokie. One was at the Cara, one was at in Skokie.
Okay.
And then one was at, what was the name of the one we did? And that just moved from one location to the old Dave's Italian Kitchen location. Do you know the name? You're an Why are we both forgetting the name?
Prairie Moon?
What next to it? The bar that was the Irish pub that was next to it. Why am I forgetting?
Oh, Tommy Nevins.
Yes, thank you, Tommy
Sure.
Nevins.
Sorry.
Sorry, Tommy Nevins. Right, so Tommy Nevins, we did a show there. And I've also done a show at the Evanston Library. And so we were always looking for places to do the storytelling. So either they were bar restaurants or libraries or like the back room of something. And so I would say it was hard to find a regular space to do that. It would be really cool. And I think there was a lot of interest. We sold. I had to steer. Kurt's Cafe, of course. So several times,
about
that. both on Central Street and Dempster, both locations. That actually provided a wonderful first home for the early live lit shows that Thread did to get the word out about Thread and to highlight storytellers as well.
It'd be interesting to have it here. I mean, we're recording at the Industrious Space in Evanston, and they do have events where you can have things in the middle common area. So it'd be interesting.
That would be.
Yeah.
Okay. You just sparked it. Yeah. Let's think about that.
We should. It'd be also interesting to, like we're on a podcast right now, but to maybe have a podcast where your writers read their stories.
Yes, I've been thinking about that too, because people really love to hear the human voice tell those stories, in that person's own words and that person's own inflection. I think there's a lot of interest in that. I think that would be great.
And I think that's kind of part of the reason why people are interested in podcasts in the first place. I mean, they've been around for a while. It comes from iPod, so about 15 or so years, but I think people want to hear the stories, and it's like it's uninterrupted, and you can hear the stories of people and learn about them. So I think that would be Interesting.
I think it's back to that whole sitting around the radio.
Exactly.
Right? Back in the day, well before you and I were both born.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's really something to that.
I do too. I think it slows down the pace of things.
Yes.
Where you're not just scrolling and you're listening.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yes, which is a nice change of pace and an important change of pace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we really all could use more practice with listening.
Yes, we could. Yes, we could. So just to recap, the Threadiversary, that's coming up on May 2nd at 7:30, and that's at the Skokie Theater. Right. And people can find out more about that at threadliterary.com. So that's THREADLITERARY.com.
It's a mouthful, but it'll get you there.
Yes. I'll have links for this in the show notes as well. But the Skokie Theater's at 7924 Lincoln Avenue in downtown Skokie. And where can people find more information about Thread and Stitch?
So threadliterary.com is where you can find the actual current issue, which was just the spring 2019 issue was just released last week. So you can catch that issue, which is the 12th issue of Thread. It's live now. And you'll see among the links also a Stitch page, so you can click onto that for the 100-word essays, which is actually quite popular. I post one a month, and people love that because basically that fits with our time frame. Everybody's rushed, so I can read 100 words kind of a thing.
100 words is doable.
On a Sunday, I'll read Thread, but on a Tuesday, between waiting for the L, I can read Stitch. So those are both live, and there's fresh content right now on those sites. To learn more about what's going on workshop-wise or coaching, you can go to ellenblumbarish.com. So I do have two different websites, one which is devoted to the literary publication and the other which is devoted to more workshop and coaching kinds of things. And also you can click on to the writing page to find essays that I have written and published elsewhere as well.
Okay. And are you on social media?
I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram as Thread and Stitch Literary. I have to make maybe an attempt to shorten that at some point, but I am on there now as Thread and Stitch Literary, Instagram, and then my name, Ellen Blum Barish, for Facebook, and Thread for Facebook. I think that's all of them.
And all those links are on the websites as well, so you don't have to remember everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. And I mean, I think this is great. I think the key takeaway is that we have some great artists, whether it be literary artists, fine art. Actually, just to go back to what you were saying about Skokie, I think it's great that they celebrate the arts. And my daughter was recently, they picked like all the different students' artwork, and they have like an exhibit at the Skokie North Shore Center for Performing Arts, and they picked hers and a bunch of others, all the schools in Skokie, and the mayor's there, and they take a picture. So great. And the artist who did a mural on the back of the painting store in downtown Skokie, that was it's really cool, and he spoke and he came around with everybody, and I think it's just a great way to get the whole community involved. So whether it be the adults, the children, and really just start something here. I mean, it's happening, but like to really push it, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we do have that wonderful bash in August. What is that called?
Oh, the Backlot Bash?
The Backlot Bash. So we have the music, the cafe life, Euro Echo Cafe is also really, it's one of my favorite places to go and write. The restaurant, the food options in Skokie have really gotten really good lately. We love going to local Skokie restaurants, and so to me, everything is really, all of that is art.
It is. It all plays into it. It plays into culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, Ellen, thank you so much for coming on the show. And
my pleasure. Absolutely.
Thank you
for the invitation.
It's my pleasure to have you on. And everybody, please subscribe and sign up to go to Threadiversary. And
love to see you. We'd love to fill the place up with a whole lot of laughs, and we'll take you on a lot of different journeys that night.
It sounds like a lot of fun. So thanks everyone for listening, and talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening to this latest episode of Inside the Skev. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and tell everybody about it. You could also rate the podcast on whatever podcast app that you're using. That would be very helpful. So also, just a reminder, if you're looking for real estate in the area, give me a call or go to my website at aaronmaslyansky.com. Happy to help you, and looking forward to having you listen next week. Thanks.